Hey everyone and welcome to Storytime. My name is Jake and today we are going to look at the subreddit r/entitledparents, where people tell us their stories of crazy mums and dads who think they're entitled just because they have kids. If you're new around here, please do hit subscribe down below so that you never miss out on another video. But for now, let's sit back, relax, and enjoy some Reddit stories. But Christmas is about family. I've really enjoyed these stories and thought it's about time I share a story about my mum. She's a special one. When I was in high school, my parents got divorced and my mum has never stopped being bitter about it. She throws tantrums and tries to pull power moves to get more time or attention from her kids whenever possible. Since I live abroad, she kicks this behavior into overdrive whenever I come back to visit. This particular year, my grandmother on my father's side had passed away, and not long before that, his second wife had died. Needless to say, my dad had a rough couple of years, and he really wanted me home for Christmas. I didn't have the funds to buy a ticket, so he bought me one. He even paid extra to get me a more comfortable seat on the exit rows on a direct flight, so I could get there quickly and in comfort. He was putting me up at his place for the entire visit and feeding me all the food I could eat. Never once asked for a cent. The only thing he wanted was my company at the holidays, and how could I say no to my recently widowed father? It was lovely to spend time with him, meet the new lady and his wife, and eat everything I can't get here. Of course, I can't go home and not tell my mum I'm coming, or visit her. First thing she does is start telling me how I'll be spending Christmas Eve and Christmas Day with her and my brother. I told her that's unreasonable, since my dad paid for me to be home and to spend time with him, and she can have one day but not both. Not that money is the most important thing ever, but dad has put so much into bringing me there and deserves the greatest benefit, as opposed to the whiny, selfish brat I have for a mother. She starts whining and laying on the guilt trip. But you're staying with your dad. He gets to see you every day. It's not fair. I'm only asking for Christmas Eve and Christmas Day. Christmas is about family. Yeah, Mum, Christmas is about family, which is why I want to see my dad, his brothers, and my cousins. We were planning a sort of belated memorial dinner for my grandma, since most of us would be able to be together. Mum starts threatening to just show up at my uncle's house to catch the dinner, since we're still married in the eyes of God. I'm still a part of this family. Thankfully, Dad's side of the family was prepared for her drama and had planned for us to meet on Boxing Day. But I still want to spend the 24th or 25th with my dad, so Mum brings in her trump card. I already told your grandparents we're coming to visit. Great. She always uses her parents, who I adore. RIP Grandpa, he passed away a few years after this, as a way to get what she wants. They're only available for a visit on Christmas Day. They're elderly, they don't do anything but read books and nap, but it's not worth it to argue. I talked to my dad and he's super understanding. He was married to her for nearly 20 years, he knows how she is. And I'm off to my mum's house for Christmas Eve. My brother and I are chilling out, cracking jokes and reminiscing about dumb kid stuff. Mum is insisting we have to eat the stuff she likes, drink what she wants, and watch all the Christmas movies she wants to watch. When I get a text from my best friend of 15 plus years. His mother, who has been battling cancer for years, has just passed on. I'm in shock. I tell my mum I need to go to his house right away since he's home alone and has just lost his mother to cancer. My mum then says, "But it's Christmas Eve, you can't go." His mother just died. He is alone. I am going there to make sure he's okay. No, you can't go. Christmas is about family. His family is dead, and he is alone, and I am going to his house now. Mum, actually shocked I'm snapping back at her. Okay, fine. Go tell him I'm sorry about his mum, but you have to be home by 10. It's Christmas. It's 9 PM and I'm done with her. I am going to his house and will come back when I decide to. Do you really think an hour is enough time when his mother just died? Okay, go, but be home by 11. Christmas is about family. By this time, my friend had arrived. He drove over to pick me up since I can't drive, and I just walked out without a word. I came home sometime later than Mum's curfew and somehow survived the rest of the holiday. Mum never apologized or saw the error of her ways. Thankfully, my friend was okay with time, and while I'm super sad his mum died, I'm glad I was there when it happened. And yes, my mum did whine a bunch about me spending time to go to the funeral instead of spending time with her. Remember, Christmas is about family, not just the dead or grieving ones. Jeez, after that I would completely cut all ties with her. Like, I do not want to deal with that. Entitled mother gets angry over my stepsister's shirt. Now, to start off, some preamble. I am a 19, about to be 20-year-old male, visiting home from college. I love jokes and pranks. I have also just had my wisdom teeth removed the day prior. My stepsister is 13 or 14, I can't remember, and loves cheer practice. She often practices with friends in a park, in a more casual scene than full team practices. Now, onto the story. I was ordered to be the DD, or designated driver, for my little stepsister, since everybody else in the family was busy. Since the pain in my teeth wasn't too bad, and I knew I couldn't, I just skipped taking my morning oxy for the pain and just took my ibuprofen. I was told all the details of the drive. Just told, pick her up and bring her home. That's all. Easy peasy. So I get to the open park, where they all are, practicing some stuff like the cheers and roll and whatnot. I just park on the road and text her phone, letting her know that I'm ready for her whenever she is. I often wait in the car because I love my music. She just wants radio. I scan the park while listening to my music and notice something odd. There is a woman sitting on a park bench, just glaring daggers at these girls. Like full-on psychopathic induced hatred. I was scared for them and I was just across the street. So knowing that my stepsister hates confrontation and I wouldn't want her to get hurt by this person, I opted to not just wait in the car, but to wait by the edge of the park, just in case. As I got out of my car and neared the park, I kept examining this woman. 35 to 45 maybe. Looked like an old bat with nothing better to do than have a stick up her butt at all times, and let everybody know that she disapproves of their stuff. God, she looked annoying. So by the time I had reached the edge of the park, my stepsister and her friends had seen me approaching, and started running towards me. It was here that she made her move. The cast: EM the scary woman, LS my little sister, LSF my little sister's friends, two girls both the same age, and me. Mind y'all, I don't think they had noticed Granny Wingnut over yonder, as while they were running over, they looked like they were happy, not scared or shaken, but whatever. I looked over from the corner of my eye to watch Entitled Mother, but she had gotten up to start approaching us. I almost started sweating from the stress of her angry strut towards us. It was quite intimidating. Hey, OP, me and my friends were just wrapping up. Wanna watch while we do our routine? Now, the girls all looked up at me, and they had just been promised a sack of pure gold nuggets if I did what they asked. And though I'm not a big fan of watching cheer routines, I felt charitable. Besides, I'm not doing anything better, and with entitled mother rapidly approaching, I was kinda scared for their safety, so I agreed. My little sister and her friends all shot off toward the rubber black tarmac area and begin to get set up, and I just situated myself to lean against a tree to watch them. Meanwhile, watching entitled mother get closer, but not to the girls. I made sure I had put myself between entitled mother and the girls. She would have to come through me to get to them, with whatever problem had caused her to get off her crotchy old butt. As the girls begin their routine, I can only stand with pride as they hold themselves regally and are performing it flawlessly. Now, I said I wasn't much for cheer, but hey, anybody can appreciate a well-working routine. Then, my moment of small pride was shattered by an ear-piercing voice. It was so grating, a chill went down my spine. "Excuse me, are you the guardian of these delinquents?" I just turned, as soon as possible, to look at her. I wanted nothing more than to just bend to her level and flick her nose and say, "Screw off." But I didn't. I just looked at her like I was bored by her. What? I was trying to anger her. The more angry she became, the more I loved talking to her. "Are you the guardian or parent of them?" She pointed behind me, reminding me of the girls doing their routine. I turned back, now facing the girls again, and decided it would be better to talk to her while not facing her. She wasn't the prettiest piece of poop in the park. "I'm just the driver, lady. I drive them where they need to go." Well, whatever. You goddarn teenagers are all useless nowadays anyhow. You just seemed older than them, and I wanted to let you know that I think their attire is horrendous. Look at those harlots trouncing themselves around in nothing more than spandex and low-cut clothes. Now, guys, I can't take this stuff, and not just being hearing from her lips, the most beautiful uttering of, "Hey kiddo, just mess me up." So I turn back around and address her properly. First, we aren't useless. We are what you old people made us to be. If that's useless, then you old people really know how to make 'em, don't ya? She sputters at this, aghast that I might fight back against her stupidity. Second, I'm sorry lady, but unless you come from the Committee of Correct Clothing, I don't care what you think of their attire. Now, you can screw out of here and stop staring at kids like a weirdo. She's now let her daggers of staring fall into me. She's red with rage, and I can pretty much guarantee if I kicked her, she'd explode. Luckily, well, not really, the girls are finished with their routine and come back running over to me. Yikes, not a great timing. You three better go home and change immediately. I don't want you here and... Nuh-uh, not on my watch. I interrupt her, just fully using my loud teenager voice to trump her annoying, nails on chalkboard screech. You are harassing us. If you want to go ahead and leave us alone for the rest of the time, that'd be great. I point 180 degrees behind her. Start walking, or else I'll have to call upon the authorities. The girls see what's happening and decide to wait about a meter behind my back. Good decision. You moron! You are so goddamn disrespectful. I have tried to be nice to you to let you know that the girls you have are being utterly inappropriate. But if you don't want to listen, I guess I'll have to call the cops. Huh. She puts her hand on her chubby, thick hips and looks at me like she just won $1 million. Now, to me, this made me mad. I knew she had an empty threat of the cops. I knew she was in the wrong. But seeing as I had already wasted enough time with her petty stuff, I decided to just end it as fast as possible. Besides, when she said the vulgar words, the girls behind me gasped. I can't have them doubting themselves. I know how hard girls are on themselves, so I did the one thing that my dental surgeon said I shouldn't. Number 1, I said, "You've done it now," followed by a Spanish swear word. Spanish for the effect. I took a year in high school, almost failed. Number 2, I do volunteering work for a haunted house, so I know how to chant demonically and roll my eyes back in my head. I started to do that. It looks pretty terrifying, like a standing demonic possession. Number 3, I bit down on one of my wisdom teeth sites and tasted some blood while I was chanting. I knew the incantation was ready. Blood for the blood god. So I stopped my chanting suddenly and let my eyes come forward, and with my most malicious, baby-eating, soul-devouring grin, I let the blood dribble down my chin and said the final words. "I just cursed your soul to eternal hell." And I laughed so hard at the skit I just pulled off, making it seem legit. She started banshee screaming and booked it out of that park so fast, I couldn't breathe. That fat woman knew how to run. So after I was done laughing, I stood up, wiped my mouth, and took some gauze out of my back pocket, put it into my mouth, both sides to help the bleeding, and turned to the girls. All but one had gone pale with fear. I looked at my little sister and just said, "Sorry about that. I can't handle baby boomers when they get all holier than thou, self-righteous people in my face." So I got her to go away. My sister just looks at me, shakes her head and says, "Thank you. Anyways, can you just drive?" So it ended. A happy ending, except for me. I had to deal with that entitled mother, but it's not that big of a deal. I just cursed her to hell, all in a day's work. That's like the craziest story I've ever read. That's so confusing as well. Imagine how scared you would be if you were that entitled mother. But yeah, what kind of entitled mother sits at a bench by themselves and like looks at kids? Like, yeah, that's a bit weird, just saying. Hey everyone, I hope you all had a really good day and that you enjoyed that video. If you want to check out some other videos, then click on screen right now, or check out the playlist down below. If you enjoyed that video, then please do leave a like. And if you want to submit your own stories, then you can do so by joining the Discord in the top link in the description. But thank you so much for watching, and I will see you very soon.